this story that's being told is a good story about queer women or queer men, and that's just as important, because it's good to remind ourselves that there are good things out there. It can be so easy to get consumed with the negativity of like, all of these stories are so bad, and I just want something good, and we can do that. That's part of our role as I think media critics, is to say, well, also here's a good thing. Like, if you want something good, great, here, look, this is a great thing, let's talk about how good it is. Because you learn how to write stories by knowing not just what not to do, but also what to do. Seeing both sides of that. Seeing something that does it wrong can help you figure out, oh, don't do that. But you also need to see, oh, well, but this is a good way to do it, and so I can model myself after this good example instead of just trying to avoid the bad ones.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of, I think this is dead. That kind of follows along with, like, they say, if you want to write, you have to read. And read just, like, voraciously, you know, and that in and of itself, like you said, you learn what not to do. And I'm not talking about reading writing books. I mean, I've done that, but what helps me most is just, like, spreading my horizons and just literally reading everything I can get my hands on, even if it's not something I think I would enjoy normally. You know, sometimes you surprise yourself.
Well, I don't write nonfiction, but something that came to mind when you asked this question, you said something about normalizing. What came to mind in fiction for me is I read Shonda Rhimes' book, and everyone kind of hails her as a real, leader in writing diverse characters, and she actually is offended when people say that to her. She doesn't like that, because she says, I'm not writing diverse characters, I'm writing normal characters. I'm normalizing these experiences. So I think,
Well, I mean, and actually, I'm like, for fan fiction and everything, like, a lot of, I mean, I to be honest, I haven't read fan fiction in a really long time, but I used to, and I wrote a little bit too, and it's kind of, when, with fan fiction, you can take what may not be canon and make it canon, or take something that is canon and expound upon it, like, and being able to take your fan fiction writing and bringing it into, actually writing fiction. I haven't done that specifically, but when I wrote fan fiction, it helped my writing, just generally. Because even though you're using somebody else's characters, you're still putting your own kind of spin on them, and I think having that platform to start on, like, really helps.
Right, because they're not, people tend to think of writing fan fiction as a lesser skill than writing original fiction. I would say that they are complementary, but a slightly different skill set. Like, it's not that writing original fiction is, you're a better writer if you can write original fiction. It's just an entirely different skill set. Not entirely, you have to still be able to write words that sound good, but like, the ability to take someone else's world and make it your own is just as much a level of your ability as a writer as it is to come up with your own world. Because a lot of times you want to be able to stay consistent with the characterization. So you have to be able to understand a character someone else has created well enough that you can take that character and make it your own. And so, yeah, I think writing fan fiction is an amazing skill set to be able to do, and just as much a mark of people's ability as a writer as being an original fiction writer.
Well, and I think with, like, the reason fan fiction has not the best reputation, I actually think it's changing. I think that it is definitely becoming, I don't want to even use the word acceptable, but that's the first one that comes to mind. I think that a lot of people, no matter how geeky you are, a lot of people saw for the longest time, okay, well, these people that write fan fiction, they're like beyond, and then when it started kind of becoming more normalized, it still didn't have, like, you get books like 50 Shades of Grey and the Mortal Instruments series that started out as fan fiction.
Harry Potter.
And they do not give fan fiction writers, like, the best reputation, which is sad, because these are books that have made, like, millions of dollars, and I've read so much fan fiction that is so much better than this. But yeah, and I do think that nowadays it's becoming more acceptable to write fan fiction and also to turn it into, you know, to spin that and make it your own without, you know, being accused of stealing or just, and it's not considered as weird as it used to be considered, which is a good thing. It's a good sign.
We were talking about the writing original fiction, writing fan fiction, they're kind of complementary skills, and I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and I think that one of the benefits of starting out writing fan fiction is you don't have to do a lot of exposition, because the readers are reading it